Frantic Nerdcast, hosted by AJ and Brock, talking about all the nerdy things that you want to hear about. Let's get into it.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Frantic Nerdcast, episode number 24.
You got to come in with a bit more confidence than that, AJ. It is episode 24.
Yeah, I've got confidence.
Welcome back, everybody. So glad to see you all in this non-visual
way.
Immediate non-visual way.
All right.
How's your week been? How's your fortnight been?
Fortnight, yeah.
It's been a bit longer for a release, just with a little bit of a couple busy evenings and whatnot. But we're here, we're ready, we're back, we're recording, and we're putting it out there for you all.
That's right. It's been good. It's been good. It's been chill, you know. As good as fucking hell, I hit the microphone. As good as life can be. I playing some ice hockey, painting some minis, all that fun stuff. What about yourself, mate?
I primed some minis.
Oh fuck! Look out.
But I picked up a good score the other week. $30 on some Dystopian Wars. Got a shitload of minis.
You sent me that, yeah.
From that,
they're like the OG Dystopian Wars.
Yeah. Yep. So I decided to at least make a start on getting them based and whatnot, because they're pretty simple models to paint, those ones. So hopefully I can slap some paint on them and we can crack out some Dystopian Wars.
That is a game that I want to have another crack at, because we haven't played Dystopian Wars in a while.
Very long time. I'd say probably maybe even a couple of years.
I do love it, and there's lots of minis out now for it. So
there's so many. And one other thing that I wanted to touch on is very, very quickly, just at the top here before we get into some topics that are a little bit more better to talk about. We had some sad news the other week with this passing of Donald Sutherland.
Yes.
Very sad. Like most of our listeners will probably know him as President Snow from the Hunger Games. But I mean, he's been such a prominent figure through the film industry for such a bloody long time, and also got his son Kiefer nowadays, obviously carrying the torch and whatnot. But no, that was a little bit of sad news. He was getting on in his age. I think even when he did
90,
he was
something,
like
wasn't he?
He was, that's what I was going to say. Like, I'm pretty sure he was in his mid to late 80s when he was doing the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
So pretty sure he was in his 90s when he did this. So he had a pretty bloody good slog. So, yeah. Anyways, there's the sad news done. Let's get into it.
Okay. Well, let's start off with let's start off with some trailers. Get them out of the way. Let's start off with where are we? Let us start off with The Beast Within.
Oh, look at you pulling out some fancy new tricks
I
for
know,
the people watching at home.
That's right.
The Beast Within, coming to us July 26, 2024, so it's coming out later this month. Director is Alexander J. Farrell. No movies that I'd seen, but he's done Making a Killing, What Remain of Us, Refugee. Apparently Refugee got a few awards and whatnot. A documentary movie. But we've got starring Kit Harington, as we all know, from Game of Thrones, as Jon Snow, also in The Eternals. We've got Ashley Cummings, an Aussie actor who I didn't recognise at first, but she was actually in Tomorrow When the War Began. Which was
the
also
series or the book? The series or the movie?
The movie.
Okay.
But was also in Puberty Blues, the remake from the mid 2010s.
I didn't watch that. Our American listeners will have no idea what the fuck Puberty Blues is.
Absolutely no fucking idea whatsoever. But go give it a watch. I personally have watched snippets of it when Shan was watching it. But anywho, it's one of those things.
I've only ever watched the
like the 80s or something.
Yeah, I've only ever watched the original one. We used to watch it make us watch it at school.
Yeah. James Cosmo, you'll know his face, but hasn't really been seen in anything since Braveheart. Oh, sorry, I recognised him immediately from when he was in Braveheart. And even when he was in Braveheart, he looked like an older guy. So he's been around for a bloody long time. He was in Game of Thrones, Sons of Anarchy, and a whole bunch of other shows. Kaolan Springle, young actor in Doctor Who. And Arabella Maslin, Adam Basil.
James Cosmo. This is James Cosmo.
Yes, that's the fella.
Yeah.
Very recognizable face. He's in a whole bunch of stuff, but I thought it was first reminded me Braveheart.
What are your thoughts on the
the
trailer?
ages. The trailer. I mean,
So essentially, it looks like he's a werewolf.
horror.
Yeah, werewolf. He's with his family. He
Yeah.
doesn't want to change. Doesn't want to kill him, kind of thing.
Yeah.
To me, it kind of looked like it was a lot more like a family orientated,
yeah.
psychological thriller.
From the synopsis that I had a quick read of it sounds like it actually follows the girl more so. So I'd say that it'll have a lot more of a time with the girl, and she's watching what's happening to Kit Harington's character being the werewolf. And so my understanding is that she's growing up around him. That's dad, and then once every full moon, he goes off, and she doesn't really know. But as she gets older, obviously becomes a little more aware. Stumbles across him as he's either about to change or when he changes, and then I think the story will sort of, I don't know if that's the escalation point, but it'll have more around that. But it also seemed a little bit more of the town. The town seemed to be a bit aware of what's going on within the trailer. I picked that up. So one thing, it's not wowing me at all. I'm interested to see it. I think Kit Harington will be. It's a little bit of a different
he's a
role
good
for
actor.
Kit Harington.
He's a good actor.
He is a very good actor, and I think it'll be good to see him in this role because it is a little bit different to what he's done previously. And there was one thing I wrote down which I thought was really, really cool. Like the super nonchalant when he was talking to his daughter, he just goes, like, "It's okay, I am a monster," and I just thought it was like really because. He's saying, yes, I am a monster. It's super chilling, but it was like before she knows that he's a monster type thing. It was really, I don't know. It was just, I thought it came across really, really well. So
the transformation looks really good too.
Yes, it does. It does. So, I mean, from a visual perspective, I mean, it looks pretty cool with some of the things they do. I don't think from like the horror thriller perspective, it'll really have too much. It might throw a few jump scares at you or something like that. I think we've sort of seen what will happen. They might throw a few twists in there, but even the twists, I don't think they'll bring too much to the show. But in saying all that, it still seems like something that'd be good to throw on just to see, in all honesty, what Kit Harington brings to the role. That's probably the big thing that I'm keen to see.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Like I feel like it's going to be like a family-oriented psychological sort of movie, and then towards the end of the movie, it'll shift more towards horror. When the transition's happening, blah 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 blah. I feel like it'll probably have like there's another werewolf or something in the area, and that's why he's changing uncontrollably or something like that.
I got the feeling that like as I said, there's like an element of the town people know. So I like that thought. I hadn't thought of it before, but I like that thought in that he's doing everything to contain what he is. So he is that family orientated man. He knows he's a werewolf. He knows he lashes out, but he's going and getting his wife to chain him up so that he doesn't do anything. Yeah. And then I think you could be right. There'll be another one that's actually terrorizing the town. And I don't know, maybe Kit kind of thinks it's him. It's like, oh, I'm getting out and coming back and whatever. But no, I think, I'll give it a watch. Yeah. Not super excited, but give it a watch.
All right. The Penguin. We got the teaser trailer for The Penguin.
We did. So we've got Colin Farrell as Oz. Oh, it's coming out September 24. Colin Farrell as Oz, Kristen Milioti as Sophia Falcone. I'm keen to see.
She is, for those who don't know, she's the mum from How I Met Your Mother.
Yes, she is. So there's the 82 seasons of How I Met Your Mother, where she is in about 6 minutes to 3 episodes. But in any case, like she's good in that. But one thing that I actually really liked her in was there was a Black Mirror episode.
Where, that's the Star Trek one.
Yes, and it's probably one of my favorite episodes.
I think it's getting a sequel.
That's what I was going to say. It's the first one within Black Mirror to actually get a sequel.
Yep.
I'm about to sneeze. Oh, bless me.
Oh God, you are so delayed. That sneeze was like 5 minutes late.
So she's pretty cool. She was also really good in The Resort.
Yep. With Adam Sandberg.
TV series.
Andy Sandberg, sorry.
So there's also some other recognizable faces. Michael Kelly, Clancy Brown, Theo Rossi. So they're recognizable faces there. Through the traps and whatnot. So for me, anything Batman or Batman adjacent, I'm in.
Yes.
Just completely 100% in. Good, bad, the otherwise, I will defend the shit out of it, pretty much. This actually looks like a really sweet gangster series. Like following Oz and sort of his climb within the mob ranks after the Void was created with the death of Carmine Falcone. I get the sense it'll try to bolster Reeves's Batman saga that he's creating. Yeah. So it'll be really cool to sort of have that that intermediate piece and see what it does for the saga as a whole. So Reeves is an executive producer on the show, but it's Lorne LaFranc who created this show. So it was actually her idea to continue on with Oz within the show. So my understanding is that it actually wasn't Reeves to do it. It was someone else, and Reeves said, actually, that's a fucking banging idea. So hoping it will leave a fresh, good, a good finish to the show going into Reeves' next Batman film. It looks dark, gritty, violent, and it's set about a week after.
Yeah, I saw that. It looks like the flood.
So it seems like it'll all be pretty quick the way that it one thing happens and wraps up and gets straight into the next. So this looks fucking good. Like nothing really gave away. It seems like there'll be a lot of good on-screen dynamics as they come across. Like even through the trailer, like you're seeing people who appeared to have good chemistry straight off the bat. So if you're getting that in the trailer, like I hope they can just build on that through the show. I'm pretty bloody keen for this.
I'm 100% in for it. I loved the Batman, so I am 100% in for this.
Really good.
It was a great film.
Like I mean, it was fun. There was so many people who, leading into it, like knowing my fandom of Batman and whatnot, and they said, "Oh, what do you think about Pattinson being Batman?" I'm like, "Well, he was a rubbish vampire, but
he's a fucking great actor.
He can act.
He can act. He's a machine, man."
Yeah. So I mean, like that straight off the bat, there were so many people who went in sour because it was going to be Pattinson. So I mean, get over it. He's a great actor. Like, watch anything other than his fucking vampire thing. I've even gone blank at what it's called, Twilight. Watch anything other than that he's in. He's a really good actor. And he fucking nailed a young Bruce Wayne. He nailed that transition into Batman through that show. Like every interaction that he had with the other actors through the show, like it was fucking awesome.
And so it was the first really Batman to show the eye makeup.
Yes. Yes, it was. But it was awesome. It was gritty. This is going to be a follow-on of that dark and gritty nature through the space. Like I'm pretty fucking keen.
All right, on to The Killer.
The Killer. So the funny story about here is that, as our regular listeners know, we do a little bit of the rumor mills.
Yes.
So one of the rumors that I seen that came up on my thing is John Woo, The Killer, is being remade by John Woo.
Oh, yep.
And I thought, yeah, sweet. Okay, cool. So I went onto YouTube. I forgot that I took that screenshot and I wrote it in the notes that we take for our shows and whatnot. So I've gone in to have a look and think, right, I need to do it. The Killer. Okay, The Killer. What was that? All right, Google, into YouTube, The Killer. Okay, sweet. Let's watch that. Yep, no worries. And I'm like, this was fucking ages ago. Why the hell did I put this in there? How did I fucking stumble on this? And then, anyways, I watched it and I'm like, oh, this looks pretty sweet. Let's talk about it anyways.
Yes.
So yeah, it's coming to Netflix later this year. So November 10 later this year. But it actually came out in 2023, I think it was.
Oh, did it? I wonder, because I noticed it had all the sort of stunning and all those fucking the words that come up on the screen.
Mm-hmm. So, no, I can't even see. Yeah, so it's about 12 months old. As I said, I would typically just, like, if I've written something down that was 12 months old, I'd just take it out of the notes. But I thought, mate, you know what, that's a cool story to leave it in there. The show looks pretty fucking cool as well. So it almost plays into that little sleeper that we were talking about the other week, a 12-month sleeper. But one of the other things that I thought was awesome, which I had no fucking idea about, it's starring Michael Fassbender, who we all know is Magneto.
Magneto? Is that Magneto's cousin?
Magneto.
Hello, I'm Magneto.
He is also Magneto. An interesting little fact, he dabbles in motor racing.
Yes, he does.
So I had no idea about this. So he competed in the European Le Mans series. He had 22 starts, 3 podiums, 2 poles. And his best Le Mans finish was actually 5th back in 2021.
He's a machine.
Yeah, I thought fucking left field for me for that. Anyways, so Michael Fassbender's in it. It's also got Tilda Swinton, Ellis Howard, Charles Parnell.
I love Tilda Swinton, man.
Baker. Yeah, she's awesome. So it looks cool. It looks fun. It looks like
the trailer doesn't give much away either.
No, it doesn't. Other than it being a contract killer, you get the sense that he thinks he's the best and his shit don't stink. Like just with the sort of the tone, not the tone, what he's talking about as you're sort of getting those quick snippets of what he's doing. I also couldn't tell from the trailer if he was a contract killer or a serial killer until there was like a comment that said, "Oh yeah, he's out to get the paid or something like that."
Yeah. I think he says there's a difference between killing and being paid or something like that. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I thought, okay, so he's a contract killer. I mean, yeah, there's a girl, there's a contract killing component. There's a whole bunch of killing that looks like it'll be really cool. The way that it's sort of portrayed, it seems to have a pretty sweet story that'll be the driving factor through it. I love Fassbender on screen. He is a fucking amazing actor through all the things that he does, and I'm keen to see what he brings to screen with this one as well.
Yeah, he was amazing in fucking Prometheus and the sequel.
Yes. He was awesome. Another movie that he is in, I'm fairly sure it's him. It's like Snow or something like that, or Snow Killer. It came out in the last few years.
Oh, I know the movie you're talking about. Yeah.
And he's looking for a killer of some kind. Like it's a dead cold case. And
fuck yeah, I know the movie you're talking about. Yeah, and it was a fantastic film.
Fantastic film. So this when I was watching this, it reminded me of that film and what Fassbender did. The Snowman.
Yeah.
So side track, if you haven't seen The Snowman, fucking go watch that. And then November 10, this is coming to Netflix, so you can watch it this one then, unless you've got access to it because it's been out for ages.
Yep, there you go. Alrighty, this is one I am looking forward to, Nosferatu.
December 2024.
Yes, wow. This just, I've seen the OG. If you want to watch the OG is on YouTube. We have talked about this before and I believe if you go to the podcast, I think it's like 4 episodes ago, maybe, the YouTube video for the original version is on the website there. This movie, it looks so good.
Visually, it looks amazing. I got the feeling that they're going to try and do some mad homage to the like the 22's film, the 22 film with like that black and white component. But what I picked up in the trailer is whilst they're going to do that homage to that, they're also going to just go completely opposite and just have some massive, big, vibrant color elements to it as well. And I thought that looked really, really sweet. But I mean,
William Dafoe. Just off the bat, his name's not even on this fucking poster. But William Dafoe he's a win for me always, and he's incredible. The scenes that he's in this trailer, and I didn't even realize until I just looked at that poster, literally just then, that Bill Skarsgård was playing Nosferatu, and Rose, what's her name? Fucking Lily Depp, Johnny Depp's daughter.
Rose Depp.
Yeah,
Rose Depp.
I didn't realize she was in it.
Bill Skarsgård, Willem Dafoe, Lily Rose Depp. You got Emma Corrin, Nick Hoult. He's in it as well. Ralph Ineson. You've also got Aaron Taylor Johnson. So it is a pretty star-studded cast straight off the bat. There's nothing you can really give away because it's already been done. It's a straight-up remake. So
it's a fairly famous story.
Exactly. But I mean, the way that they appear to be doing, the direction that they're heading in it, this trailer, like, this looks fucking cool.
Just that scene where he's standing there in the coat. I think it was towards the end of the trailer.
Right at the end. That was so simple, and it was like, it's time for the vampire. And then it opens to him, and he's just like, it's no like shock, horror, or anything. It's just him standing there with a coat, and then he's just.
So that's the thing I'm very much interested about, because the original one, it wasn't jump scares. It was because they didn't know what jump scares were back then.
I was going to say that. It was fucking 1922.
I really hope that this one takes that same vibe and does that simple horror, like that. Just easy psychological horror that the original one went for, and I hope that which I got from I get that feel from the trailer.
100%. It looks fucking awesome. Go check out the trailer. It's not going to spoil anything. Everyone knows the story. It just looks really, really awesome. So yeah, December 2024. It's coming out. It looks cool.
All righty, and our last trailer for this episode. Now, this is one I didn't even know was coming out.
I had no fucking idea. It got announced in 2023 by Millennial Films. I had no idea. It came up on my feed the other day. I'm like, oh, here we go, another one of fucking clickbait for Hellboy coming through again. Great. No, it's fucking here. It's coming out this year.
So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, because we actually haven't mentioned the title, it is called Hellman, the Crooked Man. It is actually Hellboy, the Crooked Man.
We are on fire tonight.
It is actually written and directed by the creator of Hellboy.
Not directed.
Not directed, written by.
No, not directed. But Mike Mignola, he did the screenplay.
That's it, yeah.
So he is the creator of Hellboy. He did the screenplay for it, which is just fucking awesome. So to have him involved in it, it's going to be sweet. The director is actually Brian Taylor.
Oh, nice. I know Brian.
Yeah, so Brian Taylor, he did, when I had a look, he did the Crank movies with Jason Statham in them. He did Gamer, which is awesome. That's that Gerard Butler we've mentioned a couple times. He was involved in Jonah Hex, Ghost Rider 2, which is, but anywho, he was involved with those ones with Mark Neveldine. He has done a couple of solo items, but these are his more prominent ones. This looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, I honestly cannot wait. It looks amazing.
There's so from a starring perspective, I didn't actually recognize any of the people from a star's perspective, other than Joseph Marcel. Now, I recognize him because he was the butler in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So he's aged a little bit through to this show. But yeah, I mean, you've got Jack Kessie. He's Hellboy. Didn't recognize him, but he was on The Strain from 2014 to 2016 as a recurring character.
Fucking great show. Great book.
Great show. Yep.
The comics are really good too.
Jefferson White was in Yellowstone and Chicago PD. Adeline Rudolph, she was actually in Sabrina. And then Liam McNamara and like several others. But I mean, I didn't really recognize any of their names or their faces until I had a bit of a closer look. And as I said, the only one I recognized was Joseph Marcel. Now, as we said, I had no idea this was coming, but as soon as I seen it, I got so fucking excited when I realized it wasn't just clickbait and it was actually something that was happening. And what I love about this is, I mean, we've got Perlman's Hellboy from 2000.
Tragically, was never finished. So sad.
It was Hellboy, but it was lighthearted. It was a great show in its own right. I loved it. Bringing Hellboy to the screen, giving it that lighthearted nature and whatnot. It was really awesome. There was the 2019 remake with David Harbour. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. But it was still that lighthearted. It was still going down the same vein as what the Perlman Hellboys were. Like, they had that lighthearted nature. They just made it a little bit more. Some of the elements were a little more eerie, but it was still that same. It was a remake, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Whereas this one is a whole new fucking take. It looks darker. It brings what I would say is almost a horror theme to it. Fuck me, it looks good.
Yeah.
It looks awesome. Set in the 50s, following Hellboy's interactions with, as you said, the Crooked Man. As we typically do with this type of stuff, you always get some of the history and whatnot. So it'll give some of Hellboy's history leading into when he was here. I mean, other than that, go give the trailer a look. It doesn't give anything away. It looks incredible. I am so fucking... This has probably just jumped pretty much at the top of my keen list for this year, just seeing that trailer.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. It's going to be fantastic, and I cannot wait.
So other than it being released in 2024, we don't know when. But as I said, filming's wrapped. They are doing the production. Hopefully sooner than later.
Hopefully.
Gaming.
Okay, it's going to move on to gaming here. I've got a couple of little rumors from games.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
Saw a little one that popped up the other day. Marvel vs. Capcom. This isn't really a rumor. This is actual fact. Marvel vs. Capcom collection's coming out, and they've shunned Xbox. Just they're releasing it PC, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, all that jazz. Xbox, no, fuck you.
It's interesting that it's coming out on PC and not Xbox, because typically they go hand in hand.
By saying PC, it means computer, not technically. You know what I mean?
I know that. But anywho, yeah, cool, sweet.
Then the other thing I wanted to just have a quick talk about in the rumorish section is that Disney Lorcana is finally out in Australia. For those of you who don't know, Disney Lorcana is the Disney-themed TCG that came out. It's like a Magic rival kind of thing, very similar to Magic. It's Magic Light.
It took over in the States, when it hit.
It went mental in the States. It's come over here, and it's been ridiculously hard to get to the price point where price gouging is happening in stores. So I went into Zing the other day, which in Australia, Zing is like a geek culture shop. They had packets in at Zing, $12 a packet.
What do you get?
A booster pack.
Oh, because they're only like 8 cards as well, aren't they?
$12 a booster pack.
Wow.
To put in perspective, they were charging $30 for the starter set. So obviously they got a fuck ton of starter sets, and there must still be bugger all booster packs in Australia. This is for the set one.
Oh,
so $12 a pack is just ridiculous.
It's a bit nuts.
And then onto it's ridiculous, isn't it? Onto another TCG. So this one's actual sort of gaming news in the TCG world. So for Universus, for those of you who aren't aware, Universus is a fantastic TCG that me and Brock have talked about before. I believe we talked about it in episode 1. So if you want to go back and listen to that all the way back through again, why not? Mm-hmm. It is a great card game. My Hero Academia is one of the major card games for it now, but they're also doing like Godzilla's and all that kind of stuff for these other sets that you can also get.
I don't think they're far from being released, actually, if not already.
Yeah, and there was some Vox Machina sets as well. Yep. But they have announced today that they are releasing a new type of card into the game called backups. So backups work. You play them like you would in normal form. So when during your turn, you put a card out. So you play it like you would. When your turn ends, same as foundations and stuff like that, they all come back to your story or your board down the bottom. But backups can't be tapped to pay the additional cost for cards, but they have a stamina on them. And your stamina can be paid for to use the abilities on the card, and it also works as their health. So once the stamina is gone, the card is discarded, but your opponent, instead of attacking your hero, can attack your backups.
Okay.
So I just thought it just sounds like a really interesting mechanic into the game.
Yeah, I was going to say it'd be an interesting mechanic to see how it plays. I don't know. It seems like a way to sort of boost you, because if it's backup, I'm assuming that it can be used in a tap way to sort of divert some of the attacks as well. So, or even
I'd say they'll all have general abilities that'll be like, pay your stamina to fucking target this instead of the hero or some shit and stuff like that. Yeah. And there'll be lots of different ones.
I'm keen to see that.
Yeah, it should be good.
More cardboard crack to buy.
So I'm not sure what set that's actually going to start in. I imagine it'll be in probably the next My Hero set and probably whatever the next Spotlight set is after Godzilla.
Yep.
And then the other thing I want to talk about is Game Found. I've backed a couple of these games lately. They're games by Gabe Barrett on Game Found, and every month he releases a solo game. He calls them the solo game of the month, and they're $5 for print and plays, or you can pay like $20 or something to get the physical copy. But I've just been back in the print and plays, and they're great little solo games. And I just thought I'd give it a shout out just because they are some cool games. There's like War, I think a War one is at the moment, but there was like an alien themed one. There's like a food one. There's a couple. I think there's 5 of them on there. But yeah, they just looked really cool, and I thought I'd give it a shout out.
Yeah, right. I have to give it a gander.
Yeah.
TV shows.
All right, on to TV shows. Now, how are you going with the rumours for this one, good sir?
Oh, Jesus. So I wrote some down. And then I've also got some in my phone, so we'll see how we go.
All right. Well, you go first, Tiger.
It was budget reasons as to why we did not see the Kelnaka fight and death scene in Star Wars The Acolyte. Of all the stuff that we've seen out there regarding this show over the past several weeks, which we've spoken about at length, there is one thing that I'll get behind the Star Wars nerds with, and it is fucking this. How can they name budget issue for this not like component being released? The first Wookiee bloody Jedi that they've spoken about, and they literally cancel everything about him. They just show him walking through a forest and then he's dead. Like, that is it. That was one of the big hypes about this show. And they've said that it was budget issues. The budget for every one of these episodes was fucking phenomenal, which we have spoken about in the past. Like, anywho, that was my little thing that I seen. And if that's the true rumor, then fuck, that is one thing I'll 100% get behind all the Star Wars nerds with.
One of my only rumor for TV shows is WWE Raw is heading to Netflix. So they've signed with Netflix. Yeah, they're heading to Netflix. And Triple H has come out. So Triple H, for those that don't know, is the current runner. He runs WWE at the moment. And he's come out and said that when it moves to Netflix, it will be uncensored. So back to the Attitude Era, baby.
Yeah, that's going to be sweet. Wait, do you know when that is?
I think it's later this year. I'm not 100% sure when it actually happens, but it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I seen it. I got really excited. The one thing I hope that Netflix doesn't do is add like a little tier that you have to pay more for to get the fucking... Anywho, we'll cross that bridge when we have to. All right, I'll rattle off a couple of my other ones that I had here. Mephisto will reveal himself in human form to Rhea Williams that he bought Avengers Tower in the upcoming Ironheart series. He will also change into other demonic forms during the show with expectation to see him in future Marvel shows.
Yeah, sure. Mephisto has been rumoured since the fucking Iron Man.
Yep, and it will continue. Tales of the Jedi Season 2. It's been said that it's actually going to follow Balin Skull coming in fall.
Yeah, it's going to fail.
You reckon?
I don't know. I haven't watched the first one, to tell you the fucking truth.
Look, the reason I was kind of excited about this is because Balin Skull, who those of you who don't know who he is, he was one of the main antagonists in Ahsoka. So he was, you know how you had the master and the apprentice who was sort of like the Sith type thing. Mm-hmm. Balin Skull was the master. Yeah. He's the guy who was
unfortunately passed away.
Yeah, he did, unfortunately. Mm. So we'll see. That was something that I sort of drew my attention because I thought that his character was awesome. To see him get a little bit more, like even his lead up, it'd be cool to see him around towards the end of him as a Jedi and why he went to to be a darker side wielding person and whatnot.
Because in Ahsoka, he wasn't really a baddie per se. Like no. he was, but his philosophy wasn't that of like Darth Vader-esque style philosophy.
Exactly. He was the bad guy, but the bad guy you listen to and go, oh shit, that makes sense.
Yeah. he was still a Jedi, not a Sith, really kind of thing.
He was in its purest form, my understanding, trying to get balance within the Force. But he was more taking the absolute he needed to get any sort of measure to get that balance, if that makes sense. That was my understanding. And the last one I had is Jamie Alexander wants to do a Lady Sif Disney Plus series. So she's the actor who plays Lady Sif in the Thor movies.
She was also the one in...
Could be cool.
What was it? It was that cop show where she had all the tattoos. And each tattoo kind of led to a different crime that was going to happen in the future.
Oh, yeah. I know of that.
Yeah, it was a really good show. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yep. I can't remember what it's called. It had the blonde chick who's in Critical Role.
Oh, yeah.
She was in it. But yeah, no, it was a great show. I highly recommend it. Cool. Okay, so off to Rumours and on to our 3 sleeper TV shows. Now, we talked about this last episode where we had sleeper movies. We're talking about sleeper shows. So sleepers are things that you personally, or like me or Brock, whoever, have watched and we're like, this show is fucking great. Why haven't more people discovered this? Like, because some of my shows, I've mentioned my shows to people who love TV shows, love movies, and they're like, oh, I've never heard of it. And a lot of the times,
you also have some fucking deep sleepers though, from what we spoke about last the other week. Sorry,
these ones are a bit more. They're more. My 3 are actually fairly recent. They're fairly recent shows, and they're shows that I've just mentioned to a lot of people, and people have just never heard of them, which is unfortunate because they're fantastic shows. Yep. So first off, we have a honourable mention from I've got it here from the friend of the show, Shannon. She recommended Twisted Metal as a sleeper for her. Have you seen Twisted Metal, the one based on the video game? It has the chick who plays Rosa from Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Anthony Mackie.
I'm about to have a look because I get the feeling I have, but I'm not sure.
It's got it's also got the clown, the clown face with the fiery head and stuff, and pretty much it was just like they ran over each other in the game. But it's a fantastic show. I personally, for me, I wouldn't have called it a sleeper because I know lots of people that have watched it. But it's a great show. I can't really look forward to season 2. Mm-hmm. It was a really good show for a game that was kind of just a stupid game.
Sure.
And had no real story or not enough to justify a series. But they took it, they ran with it, and they from the get-go, they knew what it was and they just rolled with it. So it's a great show. I highly recommend it. So I'll jump into...
before you jump into your first one, I've got 3 very quick
okay, go
mentions.
For it.
So one quick one I wanted to throw out there is Fate, the Winx Saga.
I like this show. It got cancelled though.
The reason I wanted to throw this out is because the amount of times that I've said to someone, "Oh, watch Fate: The Winx Saga," people respond to me as like, "Oh, that's that fucking
cartoon,
fairy cartoon shit from the." I'm like, no, fucking give it a watch. Like, it's actually not anything like that. It is super good. So that I mentioned that one purely for that factor.
Yeah, Netflix cancelled it because that counts.
Oh, yeah. I mean, first season was great. Second season wasn't as good, but it was still good. So I
get why it kept cancelled.
Yeah, exactly. And the other one I wanted to mention was Glitch. Now, this is an Aussie show I've seen season 1. It's an awesome
the one where the people
series.
From the dead come back to life.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it was a great show.
Super random. Stumbled across it one day.
It's a remake.
Gave it a watch. It's I didn't know it was a remake. I didn't do any looking into it, to be honest. But no, it's awesome.
I'm pretty sure.
So yeah, give that one a watch as well. I think they've got 3 seasons out now. I think it is actually available on, I want to say Netflix, but it might not be Netflix. One of the streaming services. It's up there.
I'm pretty sure it is. It's a remake of a French series, Les Revenants, which was internationally broadcast as The Returned.
Cool. Oh, sorry. I did have one other one.
Yep.
Another honorable mention, and I wanted to mention this one because it just it got me through the afternoons after school. Passions, the daytime soap opera TV show from the late 90s into the early 2000s.
with the little person.
This was it was some quirky fantasy shit with a witch and a doll that turned into a boy, and they travel to hell. So one of the reasons I did actually want to mention this is because it came into my head and I'm like, fuck, I've got to look into this show. It had some really eerie deaths.
It was.
When they were
It was
doing
pretty
the show.
much Days of Our Lives and Twin Peaks fucked and had a baby, and this was it.
Yeah, but like when I say eerie deaths, though, I mean from a perspective of the actor who was playing the boy doll Timmy, the actor was Josh Ryan Evans. So he passed away while he was on medical leave from the show, but he passed away as scenes were airing in which Timmy died in hospital. So his character died in hospital at the same time that he died in real life in hospital. Which actually changed the outcome of the show, because the idea was he was meant to go to heaven. Once he went to heaven, he was actually meant to come back and all sorts of stuff. And then there was a second actor, David Bailey, who he actually drowned in his pool when the episodes of his character being attempted to be killed by several people in the show, or several of the character shows, were killing him, and he was subsequently killed in the show, and he was meant to be revived by the witch. Oh no, sorry, he did get revived by the witch and then subsequently was recast because of the events in real life. And yeah, both like sort of happened at the same time. So I thought it was a bit spooky.
There you go.
Fucking weird show. Give it a watch.
Okay. Speaking of weird shows, on to my first
I'd expect
pick.
nothing less from you.
My first pick is Miss Davies. So Miss Davies is a show about a nun called Sister Simone who partners with her ex-boyfriend Wiley on a global spanning journey to destroy Miss Davies, a powerful artificial intelligence.
Nice.
So essentially what happens in it is this AI has taken over the world. So everyone has like little earpieces in, kind of like the movie Her. Everyone has like little earpieces in, and essentially they can't function without this AI. And Simone, you get the hint that she lived a previous life before she was a nun, which eventually you find out throughout the show. And she ends up getting Miss Davies looks for her. So all these random people keep coming up and trying to find her, and it's Miss Davies trying to make them come and find her. And eventually she talks to Miss Davies through someone, and Miss Davies says, look, I want you to find the Holy Grail. So she gets sent on a mission to find the Holy Grail, and in return, if she finds the Holy Grail, Miss Davies will turn herself off. And so that is essentially the story of the show. It's 8 episodes or 10 episodes, I think.
Right.
It stars Betty Glibben. She was in Glow and Tomorrow War and Nurse Jackie. And
Yep.
She plays the nun, and then Jake McDorman, who, for those of you who have ever watched it, it was a show way back in the day called Greek, which is a fantastic show, and he was also in the TV show for Limitless. And it is an awesome show. It's weird. It's David Arquette's in it as well, funnily enough. There's lots of other actors, but it's fucking hilarious. It is weird as like it goes in some weird fucking places, man. One of the fun piece of trivia I only found out whilst researching the parts for this was all the names of the episode. The writer's room created an AI algorithm to randomly generate names for the episode titles. And some of them are Mother Mercy, The Call of the Horse, A Baby with Wings, A Sad Boy with Wings and a Great Helmet, A Great Place to Drink to Gain Control of Your Drink, and the final intercut, So I'm Your Horse. So there's some of the good episode titles. And it's just a fantastic thing. And the end of the show, because it's one season, that's it. No second season.
Sure.
This is it. The end of the show is just phenomenal. It's funny as hell, and it worked from start to finish, and I highly recommend it. It was on Peacock, and I believe you can watch it on Binge in Australia. Okay. So on to your first one.
Yeah, my first one. So I threw in there Wastelander Panda. Now, this is an Aussie series from early 2010s. It more or less starts off with a humanoid panda named Isaac. He accidentally kills a young girl and therefore needs to replace said young girl. So he's sent out into the wasteland with his brother Arceus and their mother. Now, it more or less follows them through their time spent out in the wasteland trying to recover a girl, but also just live their life within the wasteland. It's weird. It's super fucking awesome to see a big humanoid panda with a strong Aussie accent. It is fucking awesome. Like when you first see it, it's like this panda just comes here and goes, "Hey, Arceus, why'd you do that, mate? Come on." You're like, it's just a
fucking truth.
It's like, it's nuts. He's like, fuck yeah, this is sick. And like it's even got some pretty like so it's got some pretty gory like action scenes and whatnot. They sort of threw a bit of blood around in it. Super budget done in, I think it was South Australia that they did it. It was like 20 grand or something like that to make the whole thing. It's basically a post-apocalyptic drama TV series with the main characters being humanoid pandas, and it's awesome.
What else do you want?
Go give it a watch.
That's it.
It's fun.
All right, my second one is another fairly recent show, and it is Silo. So this one's on Apple TV.
This is on my list. I haven't watched it yet.
This is fucking phenomenal. Like
has season 2 just come out?
I know season 2 has just started production, I believe.
Okay.
So I knew nothing about this show whatsoever,
Sure.
and I love Rebecca Ferguson.
Yep, she's great.
And so I was like, oh, you know what? I'll watch this. Rebecca Ferguson, Tim Robbins was not to love, right? So I chucked it in, started watching it, and essentially the story is in a dystopian future where a community exists in a giant silo that extends hundreds of stories underground. 10,000 people live in a society bound by regulations they believe are meant to protect them. Juliet, an engineer tasked with unraveling the mystery behind the death of a colleague, uncovers startling secrets that threaten the very fabric of their enclosed world. So essentially, it's like a big silo. It's underground. The sheriff. So essentially, if at any point you ask to go outside and clean, if you say those words, I think that was the words they say. If you say those words, you have to go outside, and essentially you're committing suicide. And because there's big monitors in all the foods and stuff, and they're like TVs to a single camera that's outside and shows like the apocalyptic world outside, and it gathers dust on it, and people will sacrifice themselves to go out there and clean off the lens to show the thing. And at the start of the very show, the sheriff, his wife, is got all these weird fucking ideas in her head that it's not actually dystopian out there, blah, blah, blah. And so she says it, she goes out and she cleans the lens, and then she starts walking out saying, oh, it's beautiful, it's beautiful, it's beautiful. And she can see like all greenery and birds and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And so eventually the sheriff is like, you know what? My wife's dead. You're going to go out there, going to be with her. And he does the Harry Carey kind of thing, and he announces that Rebecca Ferguson, who she is going to be his replacement as sheriff, and she works on the bottom level with the generators. And so essentially it's her trying to figure out, turns like this mystery of what's trying to go on and all blah, 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 blah. And it is fucking awesome.
Yeah. I've heard nothing but good things about it. Yeah, as I said, it's on my list. I'm pretty keen to watch it. I've got because it's on Apple TV, so I got Apple TV recently, so I could watch Monarch. And yeah, now that Monarch's finished, Silo is at the top of my list.
So it's based on a book called Wool, which was actually like 5 mini novella-y things that he kind of crammed together and turned into a book, which then he wrote a sequel called Shift, and the third book called Dust. Graham John Yost is the guy's name. So season 1 is the first 30 chapters of 82 chapter first of the book. And it's called Wool because wool is what they use to clean the lens of the camera.
Okay.
And the other big star in it, besides lots of other people you'd see, and like, I know that person. Common, the rapper, is the other big star in it. He's, you'd know him from like Barbershop, John Wick, Suicide Squad, etc., etc.
Sure.
So that is my number 2. Silo, highly recommend it, and it's super satisfying. And as soon as you finish it, you're like, "When's the next one? I need the next one." Oh. On to you, sir.
Alrighty, so my next one, it's a sleeper for me, but possibly not for a few others. But I brought in The Killing, the American crime drama from the early 2010s. So this was a remake of a Danish TV series called Fordredelsen, of which translates to The Crime, however widely known as The Killing.
You nailed that. You nailed that language there. Like, just nailed it. You sounded fluent.
I have been practicing for weeks. So this TV series, it brings us Joel Kinnaman, who you'll all know from Suicide Squad as Rick Flag. I'm only recommending season 1 and season 2. The third season kind of lost me. I know Shan loved the whole thing, but in either way, it's an incredible crime drama which just kept us guessing the whole time. So you've got Sarah Linden and Stephen Holder. They're the main two cops who are trying to sort out or find the killer of a young girl named Rosie Larson. The show's brilliant. Like, it not only shows the dark side of crime and the police trying to like crack these cases, but it also shows the dark side of police and what they'll do to crack their case. I mean, the example is Holder. He more or less tampers with evidence in a way to progress the trial. Like, so without they've found someone, they know it's him, they've got everything, but without this like little kicker, they can't get to the next step of the investigation. So he puts something in place to progress it, and it's the way it's done and the way it's portrayed. It's really, really cool, and it sort of shows that internal battle between the police as well, these two being partners, to sort of say like, okay, Holder's done it, he shouldn't have, and then Linden, she's really against it, thinks it's wrong, is going to like tell on him, but then doesn't, and all this sort of stuff. Season 1 follows the first 2 weeks of the case. Season 2 follows on from season 1 to a resolution of the case. It's really, really fucking good. It's dark, it's gritty, it keeps you guessing the whole way through. It's an awesome crime drama series. Good.
I think from memory, I've seen the first season when it came out, and I don't think I ever continued after that, but I remember watching the first season.
Highly recommend, because like from season 1 to season 2, we put it down and we could not turn it off. Hey, we would just fucking smash through it. And then when we got to the end, because of the way that it sort of steps through it, and as you're watching stuff on any sort of streaming service, if you don't stop watching, you can't tell that it's changed seasons really. And it just flowed. So when we got to the end of it, like, fuck yeah, that was awesome. And then we realized we'd watched 2 seasons of the show. And then season 3, it picks up about a year after that initial case, and sort of follows something. I can't remember exactly what. As I said, I didn't watch it. And then season 4 was more or less done to round out the show, and I didn't give that a watch either.
Fair enough. All right. My third one is a fantastic little piece. This one, again, Apple TV, and that is C, starring Jason Momoa. Mm-hmm. Now, anyone I mention this to says, I have no idea what that is, and I've never heard of this show. And it is devastating that people do not know this show. So this show, I'll read the bio for this one. It's fairly nice little long bio here, so stay with us. In the 21st century, a virus wiped out most of humanity. Fewer than 2 million people survived, and all of their descendants have lost their sense of sight. Several centuries later, by which time society has found new ways to socially interact, build, hunt, and survive without vision, albeit at a much lower economic level, humanity has returned to tribal, hunter-gatherer, and medieval-type societies. Knowledge of the old sighted world has become lost or distorted. It is believed that materials such as metal, concrete, and plastic were created supernaturally by the gods. The concept of vision has become a myth, and any mention of it is considered heresy. It takes action in an area contested by two rivals, the Payan Kingdom and the Trevanian Republic. In the mountains, a pregnant woman named Magra seeks shelter with the Akeni tribe. The chief of the Akeni tribe, Baba Voss, which is Jason Momoa, which is just a fucking cool name, Baba Voss, who has been unable to father children, marries her and adopts her children. Their biological father, on the other hand, is a guy who is wanted by the Queen for heresy of being sighted. The word spreads about the children, which are also sighted, and witch hunt begins in order to get these children. And then Baba Voss goes on the rampage of, no, do not touch my children. I fuck you up. And yeah.
And he does.
It is awesome. Like, it's because everyone in the show is blind. And it is just the way they walk around. They have ropes going through all the villages and stuff, and that's how they can thing. And like the fight scenes in it are fucking awesome. Like, as you can see by the picture here for those watching, Jason Momoa goes like full like barbarian samurai kind of thing, and like he gets really low and like taps his sword and like scrapes it all on the ground, and like it's all like these ploys of hearing and stuff, and then just slices the shit out of people. And that
sounds cool.
Oh, it is so good. And like, the story is great. The actors in it are fantastic. So it's Jason Momoa, so Aquaman, Game of Thrones, Hera Hilma, who was the main protagonist in The Mortal Engines. Sylvia Hoeks, she was in Blade Runner 2024 and The Girl in the Spider's Web, which is like the fourth Millennium movie. Alfreya Woodard, which a lot of people would know if you see her. She was in Annabelle, 12 Years Slave, Radio, lots of famous movies. And Dave Bautista is in the second season as Jason Momoa's brother in it. And he's obviously WWE.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it is just, it's awesome. Like, it's just the story, the way they tell everything, the way they deal with the whole blind but still having to traverse kind of thing and all that kind of, it's a great show. Highly recommend it. 3 seasons and it's on Apple TV. Yeah.
And 3 seasons rounded out, or
round out, done.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right, sweet. Okay. That wasn't on a list. I'd never heard of it. I just put it on.
Yeah, no one's heard of it. That's the point of this. Then no one has heard of it, and people need to watch it. It is a great fucking show,
especially for a Momoa show. Like, typically, you get people like Momoa who's so big, and now that you've said Batista's in it as well, I mean, that's big.
That's why I watched it in the first place. I saw the poster and I was like, oh, Momoa.
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck is this? And I started watching. I'm like, this is amazing. And it ended up like, I need another season. And at the point, there was no second season. And then it came out and I watched it. I'm like, give me another fucking season.
That's awesome. I'll have to give it a gander. The third one for me is Half-Blood, The Bastard Son and the Devil Himself. Now, it is a little more recent. Now, the reason I chose this one, because I reckon it may be a little more known by people, maybe a little more watched, but I'd not heard of it. I'd not heard anyone talk about it. And the few people that I had mentioned it to are like, what's that? The other reason I actually wanted to put it in there is because I genuinely found this show very hard to get into at the start. When, like, the first episode, for the first maybe, I think it was about 15, 20 minutes, I had to go back and watch it 2-3 times because I'd watch that and I'm like, oh, this is meh. But as soon as you get over that first little hurdle, or as soon as I got over that first little hurdle, I was fucking hooked and I smashed through the rest of it in like 2 days.
See, I was the opposite for that. I enjoyed the start of the show, and then as the show got into it and more towards the end of the show, I was kind of like, right, I've lost interest.
See, the more that it watched, the more and more I really got into it. I mean, it's sort of the very first part, like, it came across to me at the start as just another fantasy witches show. Then they're going to try and do that. Like, that's how I seen it when I first started watching it, which, I mean, on the surface, it is a fantasy show. It is filled with witches. It's set in merry old Britain, later France.
You sound like you're from London.
Sound like he's from London. Now, whilst they're named witches, I would liken them more to mutants in the way that they sort of portray themselves. The idea is that when they turn 17, they more or less like realize their powers leading up to 17. And then when they turn 17, they get greater powers and greater control and sort of are able to develop and learn what they've got. To get their powers, they need to get blood from their bloodline and drink it. Otherwise, they will die in the days after. They get the powers over the coming days and weeks. And when I say like it's more mutant-esque type thing, I mean, someone might have the ability with fire, some with ice, lightning, some might be able to grow plants, some might be a little more like simpler along those lines. Then there's others where you can transform yourself to look like anyone else. There's like one of the powers is actually alchemy, and it's interesting because they call it alchemy and everyone's kind of like, alchemy, good on ya. But then the way that they use the mixtures and potions and dusts and fragments and whatnot is like really powerful in the way that they do it. Stopping time was a really cool one that they had in there. Something as simple as tracking, but the way that they actually shown the tracking and how they are able to use it, it becomes like a really powerful type thing. And then stealing powers, which literally eat someone's heart, you get their powers. That was pretty wild. Yeah. I mean, the show follows Nathan Byrne. He's the bastard son of the most dangerous blood witch in the world. And being the bastard son of the blood witch, the Fairborn Witch Council, they keep a close eye on him over his youth just to ensure that he doesn't start to develop and get the same powers or attitude as his father has the ability to steal others' powers and has done by eating a few hearts. Nathan, he is a half-blood, so his father was Blood Witch and his mother was Fairborn, hence the name of the show. Once you get past that first bit, there was one thing that sort of hit it for me. There was an incredibly dark scene with Nathan's sister in the first episode. So she's recently turned 17, and her power is being able to transform into anyone. Yeah, and she's a straight up fucking bitch. And like she's discovered her powers, but what she does, she knocks on Nathan's door, and the way that they show it, like my first thought was it was a dream, because when he opens the door, his mother's there. And you sort of go through that notion of a dream, but then it literally turns and she just starts saying, "Oh, thanks, Nathan. You're the reason I'm dead. You killed me. Like, how could you kill me? You killed me." Like, and just sort of goes along that. You're like, holy shit. And like, you can see the turmoil in Nathan's face. He starts to cry and whatnot. He's like, holy fuck. And you think this is a wild dream. And then she just transforms back into a sis. You're like, oh, fuck. Like, they just put that on the screen and chat. Okay, fair enough. This is kind of a dark show. Yeah, when they did that, I could genuinely feel Nathan's heartache coming across the screen. I thought that was awesome. I found that the acting through the whole show was very natural. Like it was more like there was a camera watching few people just sort of do things rather than people acting within the show, if that makes sense. What was it? The undoing. That was the power of the undoing. That was insane. Basically, she can pull you apart or anything apart piece by piece. And literally, they show it so well in the show, like a slow-mo, literally just, okay. It's a slow-mo exploded notion of a person just coming apart piece by piece, but just like outward and whatnot. You know how you get flat pack drawings of furniture? Imagine that, but a person. That is literally what you see. It was so, so well done. And one other thing that I actually quite liked this show did was Nathan and Annalise. Annalise is kind of his girlfriend type thing. When they commit their first kills, I actually thought the way that those came across on the screen were really, real well done. Because in a lot of these shows, they sort of like someone kills someone and then it's like, oh, I killed someone, and then that's it. They just sort of move on. It was the first kill. It was because it was part of like a war, battle, fight, whatever. Whereas they really hone in this show on how much it really affects these kids and what they've sort of done. And I think that's why I really enjoyed this show as a whole. Because, I mean, fantasy, witches, mutants, awesome. But also it was kind of like that drama-esque type thing. And the way that they did have that emotional charge with the characters, I thought that came across on the screen really, really cool. It's 8 episodes. I smashed them really, really quickly. If I haven't sold you yet, executive producer is Andy Serkis. So anything he touches is gold. Unfortunately, the show has been cancelled, so we'll not see season 2 at this stage. But I found that there is enough of a resolution to the end of this season that it puts it in a place where, without more, like, it doesn't really matter, but you would still really like to see more because there's definitely more story to tell.
Yes. All right. That is good. I did enjoy that series. It wasn't bad. Good old typical Netflix cancelling shit. All right.
Yep.
Whilst we're still in our TV world, let's quickly just smash through the end of X-Men 1997. Now, this finished a while ago.
It did. We went through the episodes a bit earlier. We spoke about them all, and then we started talking about other things. And then during the week, I thought, oh, fuck, we forgot to talk about the final episodes there. The great ending to the show.
Oh, phenomenal ending.
So good. I mean, the final 3 episodes were more or less a 3-parter. I mean, we got Xavier back on Earth. We've got Bastion. We've got Magneto coming back on the screen with Bastion. We've got a bunch of cranky X-Men pissed off that fucking Xavier's back, and they're all like, "No, you came back. Where were you?" And it comes across on the screen awesome. I mean, it's been a while since I watched these, but I did take some notes at the time. I mean, I like the general like those Marvel general cameos. I mean, we've seen Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk. I loved when Morph came onto the screen with the Morph Smash, or I can't remember he said Morph Smash or whatever, but I seen that. I go, that's fucking awesome. That's pretty sweet. Seeing Bastion fucking up the mutants, like, it was pretty gnarly, but really enjoyed how Rogue she stayed true to her name, going rogue, throwing Trask off the roof. That was awesome. And then, I mean, seeing the super Bastion turn in with all the human Sentinel hybrids, that was sweet. My favorite of the 3 episodes was episode 9. I felt like that was the one that had kept me on the edge of my seat the most as to what was going to happen next. And I mean, the way that they ended that one, I mean, you had a possibly dead Jean Grey. You had Magneto getting stabbed by X-Men. You had by Wolverine. You had Wolverine having all the metal removed from his body by Magneto, who's been threatening that for a very fucking long time.
That's a classic image, that one. I've got the 1994 cards. One of the cards is that.
Yeah.
That's a very famous scene, that.
And I mean, like, the whole thing was a fucking whirlwind and came onto the screen so well.
Rogue's green costume. You had Jubilee in the black costume.
Yeah. And then, I mean, you round out the season with Xavier taking over Magneto's mind just to restore the Earth's magnetic force.
The fucking bromance that happens in their mind.
Yeah.
You could put some under those scenes.
You could have just had a red light come across the screen followed by a black screen and just use your imagination. And I mean, yeah, and that's why I think I preferred the other one. Like, because the final episode was pretty much Magneto and Xavier having their bromance. Like, that was pretty much the episode. But it ended awesome. I mean, you had Cyclops and Jean in 3960 AD. Desolate future, they run into young Nathan or Cable. And then you've got Rogue, Nightcrawler, Beast, Xavier, and Magneto in ancient Egypt, running into a sneaky young Apocalypse, then known as En Sabah.
Yeah, no, it was a great end to the series. Not the strongest episodes, in my opinion, out of the series, but it was a fantastic end and a great setup for the next series.
Oh, 100%. I think my favorite episode of them all was that episode 5 when, I think it was 4 and 5, where Gambit, he died. You weren't sure about Magneto. Like, that was just I was on the edge of my seat and going through a roller coaster of emotions. I said at the time I had tears in my eyes the whole fucking time. That episode tore me apart. But that was my favorite episode.
I think mine was still, I love the Goblin Queen episode.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was a great episode.
That was visually, that was probably my favorite.
And just Beast having no bedside banner still fucking cracks me up. Oh, you're the clone.
And one other thing, we've got the sneaky Apocalypse at Genosha with a present day Gambit's Queen of Hearts card, talking about death with a big old smile on his face.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously hinting at a few different things there, but
yep, Gambit coming back as a horseman.
Yep, it's coming back. It's going to happen. It's awesome.
You can't keep Gambit dead.
Nah, no way. I mean, it was a good way to finish out the series. Can't wait for season 2.
Yeah,
bring it on.
It's going to be a great one. I'm looking forward to it, and I think everyone else. If you haven't watched it, go out there and watch it.
Yes.
Okay, on to movies. Now, I got a few rumors here for movies.
I've just had a look and I've got fucking way too many, so I'm going to read mine very quickly.
Yeah, so I'll smash through. Let's go. Let's just do 2 each. We'll go 2, 2, 2, and 2.
Sure.
Okay, so Jacob Batalon to return as major villain Hobgoblin in the new Spider-Man trilogy. So that's the guy that plays the best friend.
I can cancel mine that I've got there.
Yep, excellent. Scarlett Johansson cast in a new Jurassic Park.
Just quickly, for those who don't know, Jason Batalon, he played Ned.
Yes, and he's also
the guy in the chair.
He's also in the vampire show. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a great show. It's on Sci-Fi or FX or whatever it is. Scarlett Johansson cast in a new Jurassic Park movie.
Yes, she is. Jurassic World movie.
No, same fucking.
Yes, you are right. Ryan Gosling has been cast as Ghost Rider.
I like Gosling. Gosling can act. I loved Fall Guy, but no to Ghost Rider.
Yeah, I just don't think it suits. I think it might be too light-hearted of a take to Ghost Rider. I think they should have gotten someone a bit more gritty for the role. But anywho,
keep Nicolas Cage, man.
Oh yeah,
dude, killed it.
Yeah, that's fair. Like, keep him in there. This isn't necessarily a rumor. We've got Electric State. So this is a movie by the Russo brothers. It has taken them 7 years to make. Expected later this year, starring Millie Bobby Brown, Chris Pratt, Ki Hyun Kwan, or QB from Loki, Stanley Tucci, Jason Alexander, Brian Cox, Jenny Slate, Giancarlo Esposito, yada 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 yada. So a whole bunch of others. It's a science fiction action adventure based on the graphic novel of the same name. Not read the comic. I'm torn as to whether to read it before this comes out, but the reason I put this in there is because it is going to be the most expensive movie ever made, as I understand.
With that cast, most of it's going to the cast.
Yes. So they've either got a massive cast and it's going to be a shit movie, or they've managed to find the balance. I thought it was interesting.
All right, I've got a Freaky Friday sequel in the works for a 2025 release.
Fair enough. There is a Megan spin-off, or M3 Gan.
Megan.
Spin-off movie titled Soulmate, coming January 2026, following a man who acquires an android to cope with the loss of his wife.
I'll watch that. Megan was a great movie.
Yeah, 100%. I think they're doing a second one to that as well.
Yeah. Shrek 5 and Donkey spin-off in the works, confirmed by Eddie Murphy.
Nice. We got the cast for our Batman the Caped Crusader. So we've got Bruce Wayne, Hamish Linklater, Christina Ricci as Selena Kyle, Jamie Chung as Harleen Quinzel, Diedrich Bader as Harvey Dent, as well as a bunch of others for the show coming in August.
Yep, and we'll talk about that trailer next week.
Yes, we will.
Lion King came out 30 years ago this year.
Yes, it did. And they're doing a thing and it's crap. An old rumor, but a fucking fantastic image that I stumbled on of Radcliffe as Wolverine, with the rumor being that the first trailer for the Wolverine movie will drop in 2025. Zack Snyder's Wolverine 2025.
Please no. Please no. Right. Street Fighter movie is still making money 30 years later.
Are they doing it? We spoke about this the other week.
It's still making a profit.
A movie at some point.
Yeah, it's still making a profit.
That's nuts. Mel Gibson for Lethal Weapon 5. He ain't too old for this shit.
You're getting more into the Naked Gun fucking territory there. My last one, Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill both want to do 23 Jump Street.
Oh, yeah. I read something that apparently there's already a script or something.
Yeah, apparently there's already a script. There's just no money or anything.
Yeah. Dracula will be in the MCU Blade. That's if it ever gets made.
Well, apparently half the cast has been fired. So
half the cast have lost their director. We'll see what happens there. And my last one, my favorite rumor that I stumbled onto this week. John Krasinski steps into the iconic role of John McClane, bringing a fresh intensity and wit to the beloved character. Die Hard, Nakatomi Plaza, December 24, 2024. Celebrate Christmas with McClane and let it snow.
Honestly,
so a Die Hard, a remake of Die Hard.
He could do it.
Oh, he could do it.
100% he could pull that off.
I will also put out the caveat that at the bottom of this, it said, definitely not true.
Yeah, no, he could pull that off. I reckon that's no.
I reckon he could as well.
Like, what was the Jack Ryan? He's fantastic in Jack Ryan.
Yeah?
Yep. It's on Prime if you haven't watched it. It's a fucking great show.
I haven't watched it. Every time I see it and I read Jack Ryan and see his face, I always think, I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, he's awesome in it.
All right.
Okay, and Abby Cornish is in it as well, Australian. So, yeah, support. She got the boobs out too.
Fair enough.
All right, let's talk about this movie. What movie is it that we're talking about?
It's the inaccurate remake, Civil War. I mean, they didn't have...
There's no Captain America. There's no Iron Man. What happened?
Civil War. Director Alex Garland, writer of 28 Days Later, Ex Machina, Annihilation.
You broke up a bit there. Start again.
Okay. Where do I start it from again? Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. Oh, you've gone shitty. Yeah, okay, you're good.
Okay, sweet. So, director Alex Garland, writer of 28 Days Later, Ex Machina, Annihilation, starring Kirsten Dunst, Wagner Moura, Kylie Spaney, of who will appear in Alien Romulus, Steve McKinley, Henderson, and a few other familiar faces. Now, my thoughts are that this was an absolutely incredible movie. Not only is the story a really dangerous look into what could happen with an American Civil War, but how it would affect the people of America. One of the things that I would genuinely really like to talk to or to do is to talk about an American who's seen this movie. I would love to. Yeah,
I think most of them hate it. It wasn't praised. Yeah, I think from everything I've read, most Americans didn't like it because they're like directed by a Brit. And it just didn't showcase what it. But I think the biggest thing was it was advertised as something it's not. And so I think most people went into expecting it to be a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah.
And it is in no way a Michael Bay movie. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I never went into it thinking that at all. So it's interesting that you say that because, I mean, I never went in thinking it was going to be some big blockbuster type thing. The way that movie went was very much along the lines of what I expected.
But I think we might have got different marketing than them, I reckon.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair enough. To market to the people so that they will turn up.
Yeah. I fucking love the movie.
Oh.
And I love the fact that it wasn't a war movie. It was it was a
journalist movie.
It was a character piece that focused on the journalists and focused on their situation and how far would you go for a story.
Yeah exactly. I mean, I loved the driving story within the show that surrounded the main characters. I mean, my favorite thing in this movie was also really powerful was the videography that they did, overlaid with the journalist photos. That was so awesome. Like, you'd have a scene occurring with like something which was just bad, like some sort of firing, some sort of like a bomb or whatever. But then as soon as something like key would have, if someone got shot or something happened, they would just overlay it real quickly with a black and white still of it. and you could kind of pick up on some of the things that they're like, okay, this happened, and then they'd cut it away quickly. Then the things that they wanted to really resonate and stay with you, they would keep it on the screen for, rather than just be 1 second off, it'd be there for 2, 3, 4 seconds. So it was really, really powerful. I found it. It was awesome.
And
I also love the
you go.
You go.
Fuck.
Both of us go. Both of us go at once. I also really love the difference between the subtleties and the in-your-face elements. So there's the moments where there is gut-wrenching violence, and it is in your face. Like, there's people getting hurt. Honestly, people are getting killed in terrible ways within this thing. But then there's also like real subtle things that they show on the screen. I mean, there was one really powerful scene that I thought was where they're driving under a bridge or an underpass. And I noticed that, like, pretty much right at the end of the scene, and I rewound to go back and see if my eyes were playing tricks, but there was 2 bodies that were hanging from the bridge, and they were hanging in a way that someone had thrown them over. Now, the focus of the shot was of the car driving and this massive piece of graffiti that was on the bridge. So this wasn't the focal point of that scene, and I thought that was really, really powerful in that it showed that they were going through. They were seeing something that was just everyday life now because of what they were being exposed to within the state of play within America. I thought that was really, really well done.
My favorite part of the movie was the relationship between Kirsten Dunst and the young girl.
They had such good chemistry,
and like Kirsten Dunst instilling into her like her nonchalantness at the things that they were seeing and the people getting murdered and stuff like that, and because she's seen it all and this girl hadn't seen any of this stuff yet, and like that's sort of your soul too will die kind of mentality of, and you're getting those 2 sides of those wartime reporters like that. Yeah, I've seen my soul's dead. Like this stuff doesn't affect me, to that fresh face getting into it kind of thing of my soul is slowly dying as this happens.
Yeah. And you also see kind of like to that passing of the torch, so to speak, because you've got that really in your face scene on the farm. Like I won't talk much about it because it is quite a full-on scene as to what happens there. And that was almost like a change point where that almost has pushed Kirsten over the edge. Like her nonchalantness is kind of, it's peaked. It's done. She has now reached a point of, fuck, like, I'm done. And that's where the younger actor, she sort of picks up okay, now it's my turn. And that's where her nonchalantness really comes into play, because it pretty much cuts to the net. Like, there's a bit of a filler scene where they're at a war base, but then the next big scene is when they're storming the White House. And the way that it goes through that, like, you see Kirsten really covering herself. You see her looking away from everything that's happening. You see her really disorientated as she's going through another war zone that she's been through. Whereas you see the younger actor, she's just going, fucking, let's go have a look at this. She runs out. She's getting pulled back by some of the army guys she's running with. I mean, it was really, really well done to see, as I said, that passing of the torch, so to speak, from one to the next.
And you can't mention the movie without mentioning Kirsten's husband, the man in the trailer. Boom, there he is right there. He stole the movie.
Oh, like, he was on screen for
it's like 2 seconds.
He was on screen, I think, for about 7 minutes, but you were so drawn into it. And
he's
as
terrifying.
I said, like, we won't go into this scene too much because of it is quite a confronting scene as a whole. But he draws you into everything that is happening in that spot. And he is so, to use it again, nonchalant about everything that he is doing. And what he is doing is fucking bad. And he's just like, yeah, so what kind of American are you? And then like, and the way that they do the responses as well is like one guy goes, "Oh, from I don't know San Francisco." He's like, "No, see, that's an answer. You're American. No, that makes sense. You're American." And then he asks another guy who responds. I think he said he was from Hong Kong, and you can imagine what the response from this guy is. And you are just so engrossed in every word that he is saying, wondering what is going to happen next. What is he going to do next? How are they going to get out of this? Is this where the movie's going to fucking end? And the way that that this scene did get resolved, didn't see it coming, and it was awesome. Like you genuinely don't know what's going to happen next because of how drawn in you are. And when it happens, you're like, okay, sweet, I can breathe again. And then you sort of hold your breath again while it's getting resolved, and then you're like, okay, now I can breathe again. It's like it was a really, really good movie.
Yeah. I do recommend it for people to watch. Like, give it a watch. It's one of those movies. It's not a popcorn movie. It's got to sit there. You got to watch it, and it's gonna fuck you up a little bit. But it's a great movie.
It is not an easy movie to watch. It does have it has the gore in it, but when I say it's got gore in it, it's got gore that's confronting. It's not done in a way that is, as you said, like a horror. It's not done like a horror movie whatsoever. It is real violence. It is very, very confronting.
So on that note, so we've kind of briefly talked about it this morning. Well, this morning, at the start of this episode. What's on your table, bro?
What's on the table?
What's on the table?
For those people who follow along on the Frantic Brock Instagram page, you'll see that I'm starting to throw up a few time lapses of some Lego coming together of the Batman animated series. It's awesome. So that's more or less what's on my table. I'll start to continue putting those videos up, probably one or two a day, just until we get to the whole thing. And then once we've done the whole thing, I'm going to put a massive time lapse together and we'll put it up on the YouTube give a whole piece look, which would be awesome. That's the main thing on my table, but I've also got as I said, some dystopian war stuff on my table, so I wouldn't mind trying to get that rounded out. And while we're talking about tables, I mean, I drilled a hole in my table this week so that I could get a better spot for my microphone stand.
Excellent. I got a Kickstarter last week for a game from TT Combat called Half Tilt. It's a fantasy jousting game. It's kind of Warhammer used to have a game way back in the day called Full Tilt. So this is Halflings, so like for those of you watching at home, here's one of the minis I've painted up of a little jousting horsey guy. And it's fantastic, super simple rules, been really fun to paint. It came with a little MDF jousting kind of a thing. It also came with some little tents, little MDF tents for terrain. So I've just been painting these guys up. I've got a couple left to do. And as always, been doing some writing on some of the games and stuff that I've been working on for my own games that may or may not be coming out at some point in the near future that we may need some playtesters for. So you never know if you're a board gamer, you might get the call up. That's really about it.
Cool.
Yeah.
And scene.
Yeah. And so next week, this is a call out for those people at home. Next week, we're going to talk about a movie, a classic in cinema history. Mr. Val Kilmer's first film ever, I believe. It's a little film called Top Secret. Give it a watch if you want to follow along with us talking about it next week. We're going to watch it this week up for next week's episode. This is a movie and a half. This is like a old school, like fucking Naked Gun satire, like Spaceballs-y kind of movie. And it is, I remember it classically. And I haven't watched it in a long, I'm talking like 20 years, long time. So I'm excited to watch it again and see what we can, see what we talk about.
Oh God, I've just had a quick Google, and it looks like the cover or at least one of the prominent photos, is a guy doing halfway between doing the what's now known as the common flossing dance move with a bunch of cows with gumboots floating around him.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie. I can't wait to watch it. No, I want to know what people at home are going to think about this movie. Even just watch the trailer. The trailer says everything you need about this film.
I'll see if I can get Shan to watch it with me as well, and see if we can I can get her reaction through.
Yep, sounds good. All right, well, that's it for episode 24, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for getting this far and listening through. And we'll see you for the milestonic episode of number 25 next week. So thank you very much. You can check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, and wherever all good podcasts are listened to. On YouTube, you can check out the latest episodes just after the podcast is uploaded.
Follow along the journey on our Facebook and Instagram. You follow me, Frantic Brock, on Instagram, and you can follow AJ, Weird Art by AJ.
See ya.